Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So we're going live again. Today I'm filling in for Zen, like we did last time. Zen unfortunately is not available today, but we're gonna be taking you through another interesting session for live. There are a lot of people who are signing in. Hi, Akashdeep. Hello. Hi, Tasneem. Karan is saying hello. Hi. We're glad that a lot of people have already started signing in. I'll request the team also to notify our guests for today that we can go live. Yes, I think she's here. Our guest today is Ashna. We're on KOP live today. I think it's a very gloomy day. At the same time, just towards the end of the week, last day, typically this used to be a very different space. Um, but now that we're at home, we're making the most of it by way of these quick chats. Hey Tasneem, hey again. Hi Rupali, thanks for joining in. I am going to go ahead and add our guest for today. I think she should be here in a minute. Hi
Hi.
Ashna.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
good afternoon.
Good
I'm fine,
afternoon.
thank you. I know that your interaction has been with the team. Sorry, but I'm filling in for Zen. Zen typically conducts these operations and all our shows which are there. I'm the founder for Kids Okay
Hi.
Please, Ritesh. Sorry, we had to get introduced this way, but that's how it's been.
Yes, yes.
But I've had I've had the opportunity to understand the kind of work that you've been doing. Or I've seen so many of your interviews which have been done prior to this, and I can't tell you how happy we are that you're part of a small live session for our audience. It's a growing audience. It's a lovely audience, and happy
Thank you
to
so
have
much
you.
for having me over. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's indeed a pleasure. Yes.
Right. So a lot of people are joining in as we're talking. Most of them are regulars. They constantly log in and shower their love on us, and they absolutely adore the content because we try and keep it as simple as our name itself, Kids Okay Please.
Absolutely.
That the team has briefed you about what we do and how we go about it, and more about Kids Okay Please. I'll keep filling it in. Yeah, and for the people who have tuned in for the first time, Kids Okay Please Live is something that we do every week, a couple of them at least. We try and find time and space with our guests that when they can, share what they're doing professionally, personally, because it's such a fabulous ecosystem, and I can
Absolutely.
tell you that there's just enough that can be done. So for the people who've tuned in, we will now officially go live and we can start our conversation. Unlike anything else that needs to be done out here, let me begin by I think let me begin by explaining who our guest is and sharing with the audience. Yes. So we have with us Ashna Shah. We've been talking about your live session through the week. A lot of people have written to us who know you, who've been following you, that they really want to hear more of you. So let me tell you a little bit more about her. She is a clinical psychologist and an arts-based therapist. She also happens to be the co-founder of ASA Wellness, a mental health organization. She's a school counselor at Fazlani, the Global L'Academy Global. I
Yes.
hope I've pronounced
Yes,
that right.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
And a consulting psychologist at Empower Mind Matters Mumbai. It's very close to where I stay, and I think it's a fabulous infrastructure that is required, and it should be seen by people because mental health is so important, and it needs to
Absolutely.
be looked in at a very early stage. So that's where
Hmm.
parents and kids who are our target group also they need to hear more than anything else, which is good, man. Ashna, while more and more people are joining in, it seems that you're a superstar in every way. We're
Not
seeing
at
the
all.
counter
Yeah.
just keep going up. Want to hear from you. How has your association been with the organizations that we heard that you're associated with? And also, if you could tell our audience professionally, what does clinical psychology mean, and what does it mean for parents and kids? If you would want to start with that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the question, and I'm so happy to to be here, to be a part of this. So, psychology per se, I think now, because of the times that we are in, it's getting demystified. I think everybody is now trying to look at mental health and the situation that we are in. Everybody's trying to understand what it is. So, a clinical psychologist is a psychologist who works very closely with people with mental illnesses. Like we've heard of depression, we've heard of anxiety. Okay, even with children, we've heard that children, go through ADHD, they go through dyslexia. They have a lot of range of disorders that we are looking at over here. Psychologist normally and is then seen counseling them alongside. So the reach of a clinical psychologist, as I said, is quite a lot. Okay, it's actually, if you go to see, whenever you see that there is some amount of mental illness featuring in somewhere, you will see a would be a psychiatrist can prescribe medications, a clinical psychologist wouldn't be able to prescribe medications. So that would be the difference. Coming to the organizations,
Okay.
I think I've been blessed. I've been blessed with working with the best people so far. I think they have all been very kind to me, and they have always seen the good in me and always encouraged me to do well, So today, whatever I am, wherever I'm standing, is because of the people I have worked with and the kind of encouragement that they've always given me. So all my organizations, especially right now, I'm working with Fazlani Academy Global. I'm a school counselor there for them, and I also teach psychology there as a subject. And they are wonderful people to work with, so flexible, so open-minded, And I think that school per se gives a lot of platform to children to open up, to have new experiences. So that's great. And I'm sure Empower is something that you all have heard of, basically, wherein it again provides a lot of mental health, facilities for parents, for children, for young adults. And the organization that I have co-founded, we are four of us. We have co-founded this organization called ISA. We conduct a lot of workshops. We conduct individual sessions for parents, for children, for people. We believe in a preventive model. See, what happens is we normally run to a professional when there is a problem. We believe, why wait for a problem? When we can adapt to our lifestyles, we can make our lifestyles better. We can make our thought
Yeah.
processes better. Why not do that, So that is what our goal is. And one very important thing is that I've realized is that we all exercise, we all do physical exercise, we all go to the gym regularly, or we eat healthy, right? But that's again for the physical body. But what about our minds? What are we doing for our minds?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
our whole journey, or our whole encounter with this whole idea is that what are you doing for your mind? And it's never too late to start with your mind. So just a small understanding of the organizations that I'm working with, and what they do and how important they are for me today.
No, not just for you. I think it's for the people, who engage with these organizations at different levels. They may not directly be, someone who's affected by it, but they're part of that group or part of that family who has someone who needs support. And I call it support. I don't call it help actually, because
Absolutely.
it begins with that. A person need not feel that they're alone in this, and especially kids.
Hmm.
I think it's such an important aspect and good. We've interacted with similar professionals in the past as well. We've had the fortune of doing that, and then it's just encouraging to see that there are so many people around us who can help parents at large, families at large to support the children or otherwise look at their
True.
mental health at a very early age. Because I
True.
think we've always had that fabric or that structure going on where we will deal with kids in a certain way, and we'll try and
Hmm.
keep everyone at par, like it happens in our
Hmm.
schools. First standard, same age, everyone has to be in the same class. Everyone has to
Hmm.
be sitting on the bench. Everyone has to
Yeah.
consume those 30 minutes of time,
Yeah.
for every subject. which need not necessarily be the best way. And that's why we're seeing, different formats of education, mushrooming as we're going ahead. Um, this is something interesting. You mentioned the organization name is, how do we pronounce it?
It's called ISA. It's a Hebrew
I,
word for healers. It's a Hebrew word for
for
healers.
healers.
Yes,
I was just going to mention that it is a word derived from Hebrew meaning
yes,
healers,
yes, yes.
and it's an effort for individuals to maximize their potential.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
kudos. The name itself, is explaining everything that you all are doing.
Hmm.
Before we deep dive into some of the work that you've done, want to get a quick, understanding from you. While we've just finished 6 months of this year, which has been very different. It's been so experimental because people were not prepared for this. Parents were not prepared for this. Children were not prepared for this.
Right,
No one was
right.
prepared.
Nobody,
The
nobody.
next 6 months, um, what are your thoughts around your profession, or generally? What do you
Hmm.
think? What does the next 6 months look like? And everyone that we've spoken to has spoken of hope, has spoken of everyone bouncing back. We want to hear from you.
The next 6 months are going to be like a mixed bag. We're going to try to get back to our routines. It's going to be a small amount of fight that's going to be happening where we are really struggling to go back. At the same time, keeping things in mind and realizing our responsibility, not only as people from our own families, but as citizens also. We have to be very responsible right now. I think everybody is speaking about bouncing back. Yes, we are already. If you look at the way we've adapted, it's beautiful. We've looked for new ways, new mediums to cope with these things. Obviously, it's not been easy, but at the same time, I think that's what humans are, right? This is what I love about
Yeah,
humans. Yes, the
yeah,
whole idea of being flexible, of being adaptable, where we realize that if this doesn't work, we'll get into molds, we'll get into shapes that will make things adaptable. So I also believe that yes, in the next 6 months, things will start changing, but we have to be very responsible towards ourselves and others. And that's why, keeping that in mind, a lot of mental training or mind training needs to go in. So even when we are faced with a situation where we feel that we are getting back to normal, remembering and understanding that there is a need for all of us to be more resilient, okay, to understand that resilience is very important, because that is basically some amount of adaptability to new situations. So, and I feel as times are going to change, we are only going to be facing with new and different situations. So I would say
yeah.
find meaning in your adversity. That's what I would say over here. That is a big takeaway
Fantastic.
from, yeah, that is a big takeaway from the sessions that I've had previously also. I really feel that, rather than looking for what we can do after 6 months, rather start making your life or adapting your life in such a way that you end up making life meaningful each day. Don't wait for 6 months. Just take each day as it comes and maximize on each day as it comes, basically. That's how I would plan my 6 months.
Excellent. I think lot of parents have agreed, and lot of our viewers are agreeing with the fact, and they like the way this has been explained. But my next point to you is, uh, there is you're known for art therapy. Um, what are the advantages of art therapy, over the conventional psychotherapy which is there?
Right.
And what is it that parents can do while they are with their children now? Of course, they can interact with professionals like yourself and others, but there are some basics that one should know. It's like,
Hmm.
you eat right, so that you don't go to the doctor, but you do go for a health checkup. That's a different thing.
Absolutely.
But you start with eating right. So what are the things that they can do, and what are the advantages of art therapy?
Okay. So, yes, art therapy has picked up a lot of momentum in the recent past. Okay. Like, I know a lot of people are talking about art therapy. A lot of people are, getting into art therapy. Understand one thing, art therapy is something that goes hand in hand with traditional therapy. All right. It is a source which will help regular therapy to do better. All right. So art therapy is a beautiful medium. It will require you, so art therapy is also very broad. Okay. So sometimes when you talk about art therapy, you think about colors and drawing and painting. But art therapy is not restricted to only arts as therapy. It could be anything. It could be drama, it could be dance, it could be visual arts, it could be any form of art medium that you would take and the way you express it. Now, sometimes I feel this works beautifully with children, Because you see, children are not speakers, okay? They have very little understanding of what is going on within them. So, with years of experience, I've realized one thing, that if I want to understand the subconscious mind of a child, art therapy really helps me. It's an amazing therapy, or a type of therapy that I use normally to understand the subconscious mind of a child. It kind of facilitates, it kind of talks about a lot of hidden things that are going on in the mind of the child, and it helps to bring it out in a beautiful manner. And the best part is that the child also doesn't feel challenged. Okay, so they're not conscious, they are not debating, they are not like, oh my god, why is she asking me? They're not uncomfortable. So the process makes it very easy for children to come out and express things that otherwise would be very difficult for them to do. So art therapy can really
Right.
be very effective.
So,
And it's not,
you know,
and it's
this,
not even restricted to children, okay? It's even, I'm sorry to say, it's not even restricted to children. I think even adults, I think it will
adults
give
can.
them it will give them a beautiful way to express themselves. As adults, we become so robotic. Every day is like a routine that we're following. Art therapy in some way will help you vent out, will help you release a lot of things that you're holding on to in a very, ungiving manner. So nobody's asking for it, but you will give it out because you want to, you feel like doing it, and nobody's forcing you to do it. So that's the beauty of art therapy.
Yeah, I think we've seen that, right? Like a lot of people just take a break and probably would join a certain class where they can
Yes.
participate in drama, debates, or whatever it may be. But I completely concur with you. In fact, I'm blessed with two twin boys who are just 3 years old.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
thanks. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we started Kids Okay Please. And I was like,
Okay.
dads will always ask that, what are you doing for the children? So I thought this is one thing that I want to do, because this makes me spend a lot more time with my children, and I start thinking like, what are they going to like, and things like that. So art and craft, or for that matter, those are the activities that we've seen also that has so much more connect with the parents. The parents feel that the child is learning something, is expressing something, and they simply feel it's wow every time they just have a brush stroke also. But I agree with you completely that art in any form, not just colors, because if you say art, first thing everyone
Yes,
thinks of is a
absolutely.
canvas and paintbrush and things like that. I
Absolutely.
think art is expression in a different way altogether. Very, very aptly put out there.
Yeah.
So what is it that parents can do? We know that this is going to go on for at least 2 to 3 months to begin with.
Yes, yes.
And the children have been brave enough to be in the home environment for such a long time within
Right,
that
right.
concise space, following rules, because now both the parents and the rest of the family is telling them what to do and what not to do a little more aggressively. Where the child who is supposed to see the garden, the daylight, everything on a regular
Absolutely.
basis is being confined. So
Right.
he or she, the child, has to go through that part. Now, we want to tell our audience through you, what is it that the parents can do, and probably just at 10 minutes in the day, or maybe
Right.
5 minutes in the day, or then one small thing done, which is in line with art therapy that you do,
Right.
something very simple that will, help them. So,
Yes. Thank you for the question. What you just said right now was so true. Parents and children, they love being with each other, but right now it's like an excess going on. You're all the time with the child, on the child. Sometimes I feel communication also becomes really different when you are communicating, because it becomes more like you're ordering the child, or you're telling the child to do activities. So yes, art would serve. Like, let's take art as paper and colors. Okay, let's take it like that. What you could do basically in a day, I think, or maybe every night before sleeping, that really works beautifully. I think that's something. That's something I really believe, that every night before you go to sleep, you are able to express yourself. So in this case, you can ask your child to take an art sheet. You can take a few crayons, maybe, all right, or whatever art materials is available. Because right now we understand that going and buying things is not possible. So whatever form, like whatever colors, paints, or crayons, or even if you have pencils, okay, I'm just giving you examples. What we can do is, okay, both the parent and the child, okay, now this can be a very special activity. Both the parent and child can draw something that they are thankful for the entire day. Now the whole idea is it is done together, all right. So that way it's an activity where you're expressing gratitude, and right now we all need a lot of gratitude, because we are forgetting.
absolutely.
Okay, we are forgetting that how the situation outside is. You're just all the time feeling low and upset about things. every night, just 5 to 10 minutes, if you can just think of that one thing that through the day that you were thankful for or grateful for, right? And when you express it through drawing, it gives you a more, it kind of seals the energy. You kind of feel that it's
Yeah.
really happening and you believe in it. So that is something that parents and children can, maybe every night before sleeping do it. And this can be a non-verbal activity. So parents are not telling the children what to do. The parent and child do it together. So it's a together activity. Okay. So what happens is they both can share what they have drawn at the end of the 5 or 10 minutes. And that is a good way to bond also through art, you know.
Yeah.
So this is something that you can do. Even sometimes, when you've had, like, this is just like every day you can follow this, all right? But even sometimes, if you had a bad time with a child, your child has misbehaved a lot, or you're upset with your child for whatever reasons, okay? Maybe what you and the child can do together is you can get it together and you both can draw something together. Like on a piece of paper, you can divide the paper into two and say, okay, let's both calm down and let's just draw something together. That can also be very effective, because sometimes what happens is the child understands that you're angry about the situation and not angry with them. A lot of times, parents have a tendency when they're upset with them, they don't tell the child that it's not them that they're upset with. Okay, it is the situation that they. Yes, so that also sometimes also art can help like that also. So these are few ways that you can you can adapt, you can change, you can make your own idea. The best part about art therapy is that you come up with an idea and you can put it down on paper, and there's no right or wrong. All right. Yes, because there's no harm that's going to be done. It's only, you're just going to get better and better at what you're doing. It's just that's how it is.
No, I completely agree with this. In fact, we get an opportunity to do that. Both my boys are very, very different. So the form of art that we've selected is dancing. They have their favorite song. Before they sleep, they have to dance on at least one or two songs, and they invariably pull us in to do so. But I'm going to try what you've mentioned today. Before they sleep, normally we do some artwork through the day, every alternate day. But that's more from a learning perspective. This could be from an expression perspective, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I think both the things that you've mentioned are so correct, so good. I also wanted to now move to one of your other organizations that you're associated with, Empower. Yeah. What is it that the parents in this city, or now because of the current scenario, there are no boundaries, literally anyone can connect with you at any point of time. Yeah. What is it that an Ashna does? What is it that Empower can do? What is it that parents can do at their level and then approach? What are the kind of scenarios? If you want to just give us a quick snippet of this is what we are, this is what we intend to do, and this is how we are helping families or children.
And so the thing is, I'm a consultant at Empower. So I have my days that I go there. But in general, if you look at Empower as an organization, they are doing a lot. So they have helplines set up, all right, for people to connect to them. If there is an urgency, if you feel somebody in your family is not okay, so helplines are there. They have so many talks that keep going on around. Okay, so for people, like they have another talk coming up for suicide prevention. So they try to keep everybody very, very engaged. They try to build a community of a lot of strength and a lot of hope. And as an organization, they're really looking forward to getting and bringing new ideas to our city. So it's a beautiful thing that they are doing. With me, when I work very closely with my clients at Empower, right now, I understand that there's a lot of anxiety that everybody is feeling, okay? Especially the clients that I'm dealing with, right? There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty that they are feeling. So I'm helping them cope with that, helping them understand that the nature of things, that nothing is permanent. Okay, that's something that I really believe in, that nothing is permanent. That may seem very philosophical, but that is the truth. Okay, nothing is permanent. Everything is a phase. Like if you look at wars, okay, the past, wars have ended. All right, they have caused a lot of damage. But the whole idea is that if we understand the impermanent nature of things and situations, it will help us understand that good things also last for some time, and even negative things or things that you don't like also last for some time. Okay, the problem is we kind of take a phase for a very long time. We make it out to be like an unending phase, which is absolutely not how it is. This is also going to end, and that is a faith that I keep instilling in all my clients that I work with personally. So this really helps them. Yeah, this really helps them.
No, I mean, glad to hear about that as well. And I'm sure that consultants like yourself and others were part of, infrastructure that is being developed, which is a much needed space for us, are doing a great job. What's been your experience? Obviously, we don't want you to divert any details regarding a particular child, but some of the experiences that you may have had, and through our platform, you would tell the parents that, you know what, you can prevent this. You mentioned, you spoke about preventive care. And I think it all depends on how parents are with their children. I mean, they're a reflection of what we are.
Absolutely.
School can do little, but it's what happens at home, how the parents are with each other, how the rest of the family is, what they say, what they don't say. I mean, they're picking up everything. So what is it that at a preventive level that they can do so that the child is growing in a very safe environment? Because the house should be a safe environment.
Yes.
So your experience around that, something that you came across where it could have been handled better, if you would want to share an incident which probably was not right, could have been handled better, and something that people are doing rightly, which the audience may want to take away.
Okay, so if I look at my previous clients or previous people I've worked with, basically, one thing I've realized is that parents come with a lot of their own baggage. Okay, lot of unresolved issues that they have. All right, and sometimes, as you very correctly said, your child is a reflection of you. So sometimes it just gets projected with the child. So there have been so many times when they feel that the child's behavior is not up to the mark or is not the way they expect it to be. But as soon as we start talking to the parents, especially during, case history taking, we realize that the parents have a lot of concerns themselves, So my recommendation totally would be that parents first check your mental health, okay? Before claiming or before saying that, my child has a problem or my child is going through this, it'll be a very good idea. Some amount of reflection, understanding where it is coming from, will be a step one to help your child. Yes, your child will also be showing a lot of tendencies, a lot of behavioral issues. But our suggestion would be that first check where is it coming from, okay? Does something need to be corrected back at home? Does something need to be corrected, within yourself? If you're dealing with issues and situations and you aren't able to learn how to cope up with them, and it could just be reflected on your child, and your child's behavior will be a mirror of what's going on in your mind, So very important to keep a check on that. What parents are doing right now, I see a lot of parents reaching out. Okay, I would tell you honestly, I'm in this profession for 10 years now. Okay, and I have seen the change. Okay, I've seen how parents were earlier, how they are now. Now they are becoming more aware. They are reaching out. They are making sure that if there is a small concern, also they'll quickly call up somebody who knows a therapist, or will call up a therapist. Like I know so many of my friends, there's something that is not okay with their child. They'll ask me immediately, Asha, what do you think about it? See, it's not that they're being paranoid, but it's always good to be alert and aware of what is going on, So support comes easily then. So that is something I think is very important.
Wow. I actually agree with that, because we've seen that, right from the time that you're going to be a parent, there are so many social groups that are available. People are part of this. We have, fortunately, within our social circles, we have enough people around us who've either gone through it or who understand and would want to, participate or help you in every way possible through the entire journey. So, yes, that is something that we all see actively now, mothers and fathers both. Taking interest in, how their child is, if they are going through something and can they address it immediately, or for that matter, take care of their own mental health so that it does not affect the people around them. Because it's a small life and one needs to, really take care of themselves if they want to see good things happen around them. While we're discussing this, a lot more people have joined in and they're constantly sending out messages. You can read it, I can read it. They're so just enthused to see, and I won't take everyone's name, but I'm just saying that thank you so much for participating in this. Keep sharing this. Keep your questions ready. I'm going to ask you to throw in some questions, and hopefully Ashna will respond to all of them if time permits. Coming to something that we would want to know, so who is Ashna personally? I'm sure you're invited to so many forums where you're asked about your professional existence. Ashna as a person, this is your space. If you would like to tell everyone that who is Ashna as a person, and amidst that we would want to know what is the kind of book that you like reading. and probably what is your favorite holiday destination. Now, these are the two things why we want to know is because you may be an inspiration to a lot of people who are listening in today or are going to listen to you later when this is on IGTV. And they would want to follow and probably, take cue from that. So if you could just tell us a little bit about Ashna, the person, what book are you reading now or would one like to read, and the favorite holiday destination?
Oh wow, that is interesting. Okay, so all these while I've always been answering questions about education, about children, about myself. Ashna is a very very spontaneous person. I really live in the moment. I sleep every night thinking that tomorrow is a new day. So if I've had a bad day today, it gets over that day. That is what I don't sleep with my trouble. So that's something that can define me very well. I'm also very blessed with people in my life who support me unconditionally. So that's what Ashna is. I have parents, I have in-laws who are really very supportive. So that makes me, okay. I always believe that a person is never alone. Okay. There are a lot of factors that make a person. So all of these factors make me. Um, yeah, I think I can go on talking about myself. Okay, I can spend 1 hour talking. I love myself because I think that's where it all begins. The minute you love yourself, the minute you have compassion towards yourself, you will feel the same love and compassion towards others. So next forum, I will only talk about this. I promise you. Okay, I can go on for an hour. All right. My favorite holiday destination. There are many. I love new places. I think they're just beautiful. Every place has something to offer. My favorite holiday destination, I think, in the past 5 years is New Zealand. I really like it because it's very close to nature, and also it gives you a lot of time to reflect and think because there are not too many people out there, so you have so much time to listen to your own thoughts. So I think that was a beautiful place I visited. I think yes, that's something. And a book that I'm reading. Okay, so I actually love my work so much that I live my work, I love my work, I breathe my work. So something I really believe in is I believe a lot of mindfulness. I think mindfulness is very important. So I read a lot of books related to that. Currently, I'm reading a book called The Art of Happiness. It's by Thich Nhat Hanh. He's somebody I really believe and follow very, very closely. I think he inspires me a lot. He inspires me to take each day as it comes. And he also inspires me to understand how humans are and how situations are. So that is something I'm reading right now. The Art of Happiness by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sure the audiences that know you already, who've joined and tuned in, are happy to hear a little bit more about you. And for the other regulars who were there with Kids Okay Please, they just got to know a little more about Ashna. I want to take probably 30 seconds to tell you about where Kids Okay Please comes from. I already mentioned that me being a dad, a young dad,
twin boys.
Twin boys, lovely, absolutely lovely boys. And my co-founder also is a father to a 4.5-year-old. So we decided that we wanted to start Kids Okay Please because we felt that the real estate around us is not a child-friendly at all. And anywhere you go, you need to be very, very conscious about how much time you're taking or planning where you should go with your children. And there's such limited space. So why not turn the entire city into a more child-friendly place? That's why Kids Okay Please was born. We're amidst COVID, but when we launch our app, it's going to be a different scenario altogether. We just can't wait for that. And during that journey, we've come across, professionals like yourself and so many other parents and educators who are doing such a fantastic job in, reaching out and helping this entire ecosystem grow. Because I think we're investing not just time, but we're investing rightly in all the children that are around us. And that's where we come from, that we want to give them marvelous childhoods more than anything else. So that's what Kids Okay Please has been. And before I start taking questions from others, is there something which is your long-term goal, as a professional, that Ritesh, this is what I intend to do over the next 5 years, 10 years. This is the program I want to set. This is what I want to change as a landscape. Like our vision is everything around us should be child friendly. Just don't give us a high chair or basic toilet facility which is there, or park, a small little park in such a huge concrete jungle. That's our vision. Change the real estate around us to be child friendly. What is your vision? What is it that you want to change, so that people who are listening to you will listen to you in future, may want to be a part of your vision and may look at it? Yeah.
Thank you for this question. It's a very important question. That's what I ask myself every day when I wake up in the morning and get to work. Something that I want to create, or a vision that is very close to my heart, is that I want every child to build skills, to build very, very important foundational skills, okay, wherein they are capable to take care of themselves in any kind of situation. All right, so that's when we're coming up with a program called Dhyan. It's basically an entire program that's going to be circling around teaching children important skills, not only to live their life like as we all are living, but how to look after
Okay.
themselves, how to look after their mind. Very, very important. I think in this rut of life, we don't focus. You've heard of schools, they have subjects like English, math, science, they have all these different subjects. But where is that one subject which focuses on the mind? Where is that one subject that tells you, what, child, if this happens, you're going to deal with a situation like that? Were we ever taught in schools that, what, if your friend doesn't talk to you, or if you're getting bullied, or if you're having a problem with a particular area of your life, this is what you're supposed to do? So
Yeah.
I think this is what my aim is, to create a society who is capable enough not only to look after themselves but to look after others also. So when you are equipped with compassion, love, kindness, I'm sure you will be able to generate a society like that also. So in the future, my
Yeah.
vision is to create, maybe at some point, maybe have a school of my own where this is given a lot of importance. That's a long
Wow.
vision. It's a far vision. That's like really long. But yeah, so basically the whole idea is building a system or an ecosystem for children where they learn the basic values of mindfulness, kindness, compassion, and they together create a society where all of these things are there, and humans in general learn to live together happier and healthier. That's what my vision is.
Fantastic. I think most people that I hear or will listen to you later are going to concur with your thoughts and would want to do that in their lifetime. You're fortunate that you have that as a profession and you can work towards that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we will start taking questions. You can start throwing your questions in, and in a minute we can look at that. Before we start taking questions, and some of the questions that have come in from my team also, I'm going to put that across. But before we deep dive into answering those questions which are there, I want to share something again from Kids OK Please perspective. Is that this was one of the questions we asked, that how do we use our social infrastructure around us? And I can tell you, 99 out of 100 people, or maybe the number is even bigger, uh, we don't even use our social infrastructure. We don't even look at our social infrastructure in the best way. For us, a safe place for a child is a play area, a mall, or park, and things like that. We've never introduced them to the police station, to the hospitals,
Absolutely.
to everything around us, and told them that this is a part of your social infrastructure, and you can walk in here. This is a person that you need to speak to. So when we tried doing that with at least 4 police stations within the localities, we spoke to the senior inspector out there. Like, if I were to invite 20 families out here with their children, maybe on a Sunday or maybe on a particular day where it is appropriate, would you give them a tour as to what is a police station, introduce them to what's the hierarchy, who they can go and complain to, give your phone number, can you talk to the children? He's like, we'll be happy to do it. I mean, that's what we are here for. You want to tell them it's a safe neighborhood. And how do we communicate it?
Hmm.
So something as simple as that made us believe that that also is real estate. That also is a safe place where children can go for that 1 hour education plus just seeing who the cop is, and at the same
Absolutely.
time learn something new. And they said, we'll talk about good touch, bad touch. We'll get a therapist to come and talk about it. We'll get someone to come and talk about it.
Right.
You do the session right here. You don't need to
Right.
book a conference and things like
Yes.
that. So like, this is encouraging. This is what is going to happen, and this is what we'll try and do in terms of experiences, which
Mm-hmm.
is kids in the Kids OK Please, and OK is all the places that we okay and say that this is child friendly. It's okayed by us. And please is all the brands, consultants, educators, everyone who's trying to, or companies which are trying to engage the children and parents. They need to please them. So come up with better engagement. Just don't give freebies. Come up with
Right.
a better engagement, because parents need to spend more time with their children. They are happy to do that. Anyways, that's
Absolutely.
about Kids OK Please.
No, that's wonderful, because I completely agree with your concept that yeah, as a city, as a concrete city that we live in, it's like a concrete jungle. There are very few places for children to venture out and to go out. And this will be a great initiative where you don't have to create something extraordinary. The ordinary can be the
Absolutely.
extraordinary, That's what it can all be about,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great. I think so. I'm happy to take any questions. Ashna is going to respond to all your questions. I'm getting some questions coming in from the team as well.
Yes.
A couple of things that have been shared, which I was noting down while we were talking. What are the common symptoms or issues that one need to see in children or people around them to understand that things are they need to talk to someone?
Right.
Something that they should immediately be, that's like a tick mark.
Yeah, like an alarm. I call it an alarm. You know, when you see this happening consistently, it's like an alarm that should ring and say, okay, there's something wrong. Okay, depends on what age group that you're looking at. With younger children, normally, if you feel behavior is just not manageable, okay, like if you feel that the child is throwing a lot of behavior tantrums, or if you see that the child is, consistently not listening and is having major behavioral issues, you must consult a professional for that. All right, because it will, before it's very delayed, because when behavior, after a point to change behavior is very difficult. Okay, so the good idea would be that before it becomes worse, it's a good idea to just step in. So if you see continuously temper tantrums, inability to listen, inability to complete tasks, like you've given a particular task, the child is not completing it, even attention deficit. So sometimes, when you're telling a child to focus on something and repeatedly if you tell them to do it and it's not happening, this would also be a good idea to just understand. See, I would always, as I spoke about the preventive model, why wait for too long before you think that things are really out of hand? So if you feel all of those things are happening for younger children, even their work, if you see that their work is incoherent, you can't read, and I'm not talking about a child who's 2 years old, okay? I'm talking about children who are 6, 7, and after repeated instructions given, repeated practice given, they still feel that they aren't able to write well, or they aren't able to, communicate their thoughts well. It would be a good idea to just get a check, like, what's happening basically. So that would be something for younger children. For older children, I would say, especially teenagers, I think if you feel that they're feeling very anxious repeatedly, they aren't able to cope with certain situations, you see them having meltdowns very easily, like they're crying, or they're unable to face situations. I think it'd be a good idea to just talk to them and see if they would want to talk to somebody other than you, because sometimes teenagers, they have these thought processes where they may not be comfortable sharing with their parents, so it would be a good idea to just check on them and see if they're okay to talk to somebody else other than the parents sometimes. However, I think, with time and with the therapist, I think parents should also build these bridges, because it's very important. And teenagers are very, very sometimes confused. Sometimes they want space, sometimes they don't want space. So, it's difficult for parents also to, get that balance in. So these few signs, sorry.
Sorry, please go ahead. You were saying.
No, I was completing. Yeah, sorry, you were saying something. Yes.
So there's another question which has come, and I also, was discussing with the team before we came on board that, like, parents, before they become parents, their children are, they've inherited the large families they've come in. The first person they decide on is a pediatrician. Who's going to be their pediatrician? At some point of time, it's decided. And that pediatrician stays with them for a long time.
Absolutely.
Would you also recommend that there should be someone who is the go-to person for mental health, or easing such scenarios, and how will that work? Would you recommend that once in 6 months just a visit as a family should be done, or a random conversation can take place? What would you reckon with the people? That's what we thought is important for parents to know, because everyone knows there has to be a family doctor, pediatrician, this and that.
True.
What about this?
Yes. I'm so glad you brought this up, because, a lot of times, people feel that when there's a problem, run to a therapist. So I'll be very honest with you. I have been working in this profession, as I told you, for 10 years now. So many people I have worked closely with, like, my clients, it may be 3 years, 4 years, they still pick up the phone and they were like, how are you doing? And, this has come up, what do I do? There's so many times I just talk to them on the phone and they're fine, So sometimes, yes, having somebody that you can talk to, okay? But obviously therapy is a very different thing, all right? It is not like a casual conversation that you're having with somebody. But yes, sometimes it is good if you feel as a parent that you are struggling to deal with certain situations. If this is the first time, it's like your first child and you're still managing, it would be a great idea if you take some sessions to understand and to mentally prepare yourself and to take things forward, okay? I would also say that there is no right or wrong here, okay? Once you are comfortable with a therapist, you will form a relationship like that, and that you will take it forward. It will proceed, it will develop into a relationship where you will be banking on that person. Most of my clients, when I've worked with them, they are like 5 years, 6 years, are still with me. Okay. Now, obviously, the problem that they came with definitely changed. Now, the problems that they are facing are different. But the fact that they've trusted you, it can be a long lasting relationship. All right. So, I would suggest that if you feel there are some concerns, fleeting concerns, it would be a good idea to consult somebody and see what kind of a relationship you're able to build with them. And then take things forward from there.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's very helpful. And there's one more question from my team, which is there. I think the audience is just enthralled and is constantly listening to you. They've not posed in any questions, but you've given such clarity about every question that we've asked. This one is about what about the pressure that's being put onto children by parents, and these pressures are everything from a performance at examination level, performance, or just behavioral pressure that you can't do this, you can do this. And some parents who identify talent at a very young age within their children, which can be monetized in a certain way. What about that pressure? What do you want to tell those parents? Because they may not, our listeners or anyone's going to listen in the future, they may not directly be doing that to their children, but they may know of someone who is doing it. And, how can they participate or contribute to that conversation? What is your thought around?
See, pressure is again very subjective. Okay. What may be pressurizing for you may not be pressurizing for me. All right. So, first, understanding the child, the capacity of the child is very important. Also, we need to understand that these parents, they were not born like this. Okay. They were also subjected to the same amount of pressure by their parents. And they were also taught, and they have been structured in a certain way. So what they are doing is only a continuation of what their parents have done to them. All right. So when we judge parents, when we say the parents are like this, the parents don't understand this, that, completely agree that maybe they are missing or lacking somewhere, but please don't blame them completely. There's a lot of grooming and structuring done by society before that also. So don't blame the parents and don't blame the children. Rather, if something is going incorrect and you feel that, as a friend, that one of your friends is pressurizing the child too much, honestly, I don't think they're going to listen to you, okay? Because they have a mind of their own. So you can try your luck and try convincing them, but it would be nice as a friend, like a friendly advice you would want to give them and say that, I am finding it, that, maybe this seems like an imbalance in the situation that is happening. Would you want to reflect on it? And I feel that your child may be going through these situations. So as a friend, you can definitely make suggestions and recommendations. Whether they are going to be taken or not taken is completely depending on how open the other person is. All right. That is the same thing for therapy also, right? We tell people, I think this person needs therapy, but the person never feels they need therapy. So, that's how it is. It's always like that. The person who really needs it may not see it. People around them, that is why you should tell them. See, get them aware. You can tell them that I think there is a condition or there is a situation that you are neglecting. But blaming them would not be a good idea because, as I told you, they are also subjected to these pressures. They've also been taught. Sometimes you're taught to deal or to behave in a certain way since childhood. So, they have to work on themselves first and then work on the child, as I already told you before. So that's what the summary would be for that.
Well, I think so. We've exhausted our questions, which the team wanted to ask on behalf of when we told our regular audiences that this is a panelist and these are the questions that we're going to throw at her. So we've exhausted that. I think the audience has been very, very happy with. I can just see the number of thumbs up and compliments being thrown at you. There's something which has come through. Could you please throw some light on social pressure on parents, which affects their relationship with their children? I think this is an extension of what we were just discussing.
Yes,
if you could just.
Yes. So social pressures, basically the social pressures I'm guessing are, like matching up to somebody's birthday party or, is that the pressure that we're talking about here? Like, basically if some parent has done something, we're trying to either equate or kind of, trying to make it better than that. That is a social pressure that we are looking at. And also the fact that your child should go to university and study abroad, all of these are social pressures. And see, we are living in a society. We cannot completely escape it. But at the same time, what is your child's capacity? Parents, this is what I repeat again and again. You as a parent know best. You know what makes a child happy. You know what makes a child angry. You know what is your child's strength and you know what is their weakness. And if you don't know, please find that out. please sit down and first find that out and then try to equate your child to some other child. Because it's not fair to the child. Today, if I say, sir, that you and I are the same, it's not possible. You have your strengths and I have my strengths. I mean, you may be better at something and I may be better at something, or I may be worse at something and you may be better at that, But that doesn't make you a better or me a lesser person, all right? It is that we all operate from our strengths. So similarly, the social pressures should be a secondary thing. The priority should be your child. If you make it child-focused and child-centric, then the social pressures will automatically start, losing the impact it has on us, okay? The minute you start thinking about your child first and then the society, and then you will see how they both can be integrated together. Okay, that's what I would say.
Well, thank you. I guess you've answered this as appropriate. Yes, it was expected to be from our audience. I think having said that, it's been wonderful. I believe about 45 minutes that we've already spoken out here. The live typically lasts for about 50-55 minutes with with a few a lot more questions. And trying to probably roll around the same topic area. But today I've seen the previous ones also, and I know that the questions have been answered absolutely transparently, and you've given direct feedback. So very, very happy about this, and glad that we could speak to you and the audiences could hear you. Before we let you go, the little that you've heard from the team and whatever I could explain to you about Kids OK Please, want to know your thoughts. Want to know your thoughts about Kids OK Please, if you would like to say something around that.
Absolutely. I am really excited with your idea that you've come up with. I don't think too many people I know have got this concept. And I think, with your team and the dedication that you all have, if you all come together and you really, really, even the basic thing of finding, the right infrastructure, the right places for children to go in a city like Mumbai, I think so many parents are going to be blessing you. I'm telling you, because I know so many parents and they are all frustrated because after a point, how many times can you go to a play area or how many times can you, take a child to a garden, there's something new that we all are looking forward towards, right? So I think your concept is amazing. The fact that you're encouraging so many people to come up and, have a discussion with you, I think that speaks volumes of your reach. It basically makes everybody feel that it's important to come out, have a voice, talk about things, and at the same time with your need to give infrastructure, and the best part being not only in a restaurant, like as you said, like a high chair for children in a restaurant, but in other places too, everywhere, making a place more child friendly, more more approachable for children, and many more places than we already know of. So I think that is a beautiful initiative, I think. And yes, I think your tagline is really nice. I really like it. Kids OK Please. Yes, everywhere this should be the kids are okay to be here, please. I think that's how I would put it very nicely.
Well, thank you. I think, and through this platform, because every time we try to get an opportunity, we mention this, we are privileged. Our kids at some level are privileged because we are all working very hard for that. But there are a lot of people who are either specially abled or who are underprivileged, and nowhere and on no platform are you going to see that there are events, engagements, education which is being planned for them. Imagine we are struggling with our children who have everything for them, space and things like that. What happens to those children, and how are we addressing that? Where is that entire space? So like your vision, our vision is also similar, that every child should get marvelous childhood. And it's not just a line. I think if every parent every parent tries their best to do it. It's just that we want everyone to come together. So hoping that we can have more conversation. We would like to know more about your work that happens later. Happy to host most of your and support that with any technical assistance that we can provide, and my team will be in touch with you to do their best now and in future. And good luck with all the work that you're doing. Thank you so much once again for being on Kids OK Please Live.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely talking, a lovely chat. Afternoon chat was a good thing. And all the best for your endeavors also. And hopefully, I think, you reach your vision, your success the way you plan to. All the best wishes to you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Take care. Bye. See you.